9.2.5 in your note packet. I think it's going to start on page 16-ish, somewhere in that range. Okay. You will need your Chromebook to do this, to complete this one too. So let's get that out also. And then let's make sure we put our homework away. We should have time today to not only get homework stamped if you have homework that needs to be stamped, but I got a stack of stuff that I want to hand back to you also. So we got all that stuff going on there too. All right, so let's dive into it. So we're talking again scatter plots and lines of best fit. Okay, so the table below gives the height and shoe size of 6 randomly selected men. Question number 1 says, create a scatter plot of the data, making sure to include labels and a title. Okay? All right, well, so the labels that we're going to have height and we're going to have shoe size. Based off of the scaling, I'm going to go with height is going to be the horizontal or the vertical? Horizontal. Okay, so we should label that then. Oops, that breaks. So we'd have height down there, which leaves what for the vertical? Shoe size. So we should for sure label that. So now we know what our scatter plot is actually talking about. Okay? Okay? So the first one, that breaks. We're not there yet. Okay? All right, stay with me. So the first one has a height of what and a shoe size of what? Height is 67. So these look like they're going by 5s, okay? And a shoe size of 8.5. So those look like they're going by 1s. 6, 7, 8.5. So that would be right smack dab in the middle of that square. Next one is and 9.5. So that's going to be right there on that one. Next one is 73.5 and 11. Based off of the first 3, does our data seem to be correlated? Yeah, okay. Next one. 78 and 12, or is it 75 and 12? Yes, I saw that. 75 and 12. Still in that same correlation. Looking pretty strong, right? Yep, okay. Then 78 and 13. Still looks pretty strong. Okay. And our last one, 66 and 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes? Okay. Like it. Step number 2 says using a straight edge, because we're drawing a line of best fit, so we want to use something that is straight. Using a straight edge, graph what you think is the line of best fit on that one, and then come up with the equation in slope-intercept form for it. Oh, let's see. We gotta get here. We gotta get a line. What do you think? Maybe a little bit more like that. I'm thinking this data point right there and that one right there. You want a little bit of a spread in your data points. Okay? Yes? Okay. So this first one was in the 67 range. Did we have a 67 for a height? 67, 8.5? Yep, that one. Okay. This one was something 12. Which one had a shoe size of 12? 75? Okay. What do I have to do first in order to find my line of best fit? X1. Okay, so subtract the y and subtract the x, otherwise known as find the slope. Yep, exactly. Find the slope. Okay, so my slope here is going to be 12 minus 8.5 all over 75 minus 67. That's 3.5 over 8. Fractions, do we want it in fraction or do we want it in decimal? Decimals, right? Because what are we talking here now? Shoe size is one of them, and height is the other one. Either one of those deal with fractions? Not really, they do decimals, right? Okay, so what is 3.5 divided by 8? In decimal form. Agree? Yeah? Anybody back that up? 3.5 divided by 8. All of you have calculators, I can see. 3.5, the divide key, 8 equals. Yes? All right, good. We're all paying attention. We're all participating. Because you're going to have to do this not only tonight on your homework, but on Friday's quiz, and next week on Friday's quiz, and probably Thursday on your homework, and next week on your homework, and all the homeworks all the way up to the unit test. So practice now. Make mistakes now so you don't make mistakes later. Okay? Now what? We found the slope. Now what? Okay, so could I just go right to the equation of my line? Yeah, because what can I use? I can use the point slope form, right? Because I've got 2 points that's on my line, and I've got the slope. So which point do we want to use? Upper or lower? Oops, not equals and equals. Upper or lower? Lower? So y is going to stay y. Okay? Y sub 1, you said lower, so that would be 8.5. My slope was 0.4375. Okay. I should really put my glasses on for this. Maybe I can see. There they are. So I get here, for my equation in slope-intercept form, I get y equals 0.4375x minus 20.8125. Yes? I distributed in the green number into my parentheses. Okay. For both. It's got to go into both. Yes? Okay. We'll verify this momentarily. Question number 3 says, use your line of best fit to predict the height of a man with a shoe size of 10.5. So first off, what is a shoe size of 10.5? Is that X or is that Y? Y, right? Because if we go back to our scatter plot, oops, tap the brakes. Come on. If we go back to our scatter plot, shoe size was on our y-axis. Okay? So that is our y value. So I'm going to plug in 10.5 in place of my y. How am I going to solve that first? Okay. That gives me 31.3125 equals that. Yes? Now what? Quit. And I get 71.5714. And what are we talking here? What's our label to go along with that one? Inches? Okay. Now what it says to do is now it says to make a scatter plot in Desmos. So remembering how to make that, we have to make ourselves a table. Okay. First value in the table was what? 67 and no, 8.5. Okay. Then 9.5. And 8. And that was it, right? Okay. All right. So now if I want to see that, I click on that magic thing right there and zoom out just a little bit. Now, one of the other things that we can do too is to kind of have it match what you had on your in your notes. Let me show you in Desmos how you can set your window that it looks at. Okay? So if you go up here to this wrench, up here in this corner, you can set your x-axis. And so we had our x-axis at -5, and it went all the way up to 95. Then we had our y-axis at -1, and it went all the way up 16, 17 to 18. So now there is the same orientation of your graph that you had on your paper, so that they would look the same. Okay? Then to find our line of best fit, all we've got to do is click on this little symbol right there, and it gives it to us, puts it in there for us. How close were we? Pretty close, right? So this right here is my equation. And this right here is my correlation coefficient. Pretty strong. 0.9972. It's a pretty strong linear relationship. Okay? And how far off were we? We had 0.4375, and we had a y-intercept of -20. So yeah, so we were pretty close. Pretty close on our line of best fit, which means our prediction equation would be pretty accurate. Okay? Questions on any of that? What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to do on the next page, I want you to do meal cost versus tip. Same thing for numbers 5 through 8. Do 5 through 8 only, and then pause for the cause. And then we'll do the rest. Okay? So this is what you should have gotten right here. Okay? Here would be your equation. Here would be your correlation coefficient. Yes? Okay. Everybody should have the same one, right? Because we're all using the same data, we're all using the same program. Okay? So we should have 0.1569337x minus 0.299229. Okay? All right? Just need that for when we scroll back up here and answer some more questions. Okay? Describe the correlation strength and direction. Strong positive, right? Pretty strong, like really strong positive. Yep. Okay. All right. What is the slope, and describe what it means in this context? What is the slope of this line? You guys have seen slope 1,000 times. What is the slope of this line? What do you got? Okay. What does that mean in terms of this scenario? Okay, so for every dollar in the of meal cost, okay, so for each plus $1 in cost of the meal, the tip does what? Tip going up or tip going down? Up by how much? Roughly. I'd go 16 though, right? Round up. Yep, okay. So for each increase in $1 of the meal, your tip should go up 16 cents. Which means what percentage are they tipping? 16%. Yep, exactly. Yep. Use the equation to predict the tip if a single diner orders a meal costing $10.50. $10.50, is that X or is that Y? X, because it's cost of the meal, right? Okay, so that's going to equal X. So we got to plug that into our equation. Oops, not plus, that's a minus. $0.156937 times 10.50 minus 0.299229. I get the tip should be $1, and I'm going to go with, oh, here actually, truth be told, let's do it this way. I'm going to go with 1.34861. So the tip should be $1.35. Yes? And money, we got to round it to $2. Okay? Questions on that one? All right, let's go to the last one then. This graph shows the line of best fit for high school students' daily cell phone use in hours and their overall GPA. Use the graph and the line of best fit to answer the following questions. Okay. All right. Number 9, using the line of best fit, predict the GPA of a student with 8 hours of daily cell phone use. How am I going to do that? I don't have an equation to plug it into. Do we? Oh, so I thought you were going to answer the question. How are we going to do this one? Go over to 8 and find the line, right? Okay. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come over here to 8, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to find that line, and that's going to tell me what their GPA is, right? Okay. So what is that GPA? No, because so let's go back over here to the x-axis and let's figure this out. You need to wake up. So you need to start writing stuff down because you haven't written anything down. All you've done is color in your graph so far. Okay? So if you want to do well in this class, you have to start writing stuff down. End of story. I'm stop beating around the bush with it. Okay? If you want to improve in here, start writing stuff down. If not, literally take out anything else, but do not sleep in this class. Okay? Understand? All right, fantastic. So what's my scale over here? Each of my grid lines is how much? 0.5, right? Okay. So this over here is 0.5. Then this would be 1.0. This would be 1.5, and so on and so forth. So we're somewhere above 0.5, right? Okay. 0.6? I'm okay with 0.6. Okay. I'm okay with that. Okay. All right. Is the slope of the line positive or negative? Negative. Okay. So the slope is negative. What does that mean? More screen time, lower GPA, right? Yeah. Okay. According to the line, what is the approximate change in GPA for each additional hour of daily cell phone use? What are we really trying to find here with question number 11? Say loud. We're finding the slope, okay? We need to find the slope of that line, okay, approximately. So it looks like it goes through this point right here, which is the point 0, 4, right? And it looks like it goes through this point directly right there, which is the point 6, 1.5. Yes? Okay. So 4 minus 1.5 all over 0 minus 6. 2.5? Over negative 6. Do I need to have it in fraction form, or can it be in decimal form? Decimal, yeah. Decimal, we don't give your GPA at like 98/7 or whatever, something like that. Okay, they give it like 3.274, right? Okay, so what is 2.5 divided by negative 6? So let's say negative 0.4167. We'll go up to 4. Okay? So for each additional hour, according to this study, you're losing almost half of a GPA. Huh? Good? Awesome. All right, let's go through the homework so we know what we're doing. If I'm not mistaken, and I kind of looked at it already today, if I'm not mistaken, it's pretty much exactly what we just did. Okay? So the first one, you're going to create your own scatter plot by hand on that grid. Then you're going to put on your line of best fit and find what your line of best fit is, the equation of your line of best fit. Then you're going to use that to predict. Then you're going to put your data in Desmos and then do that. Okay? I need to see here in number 2 your work to find your line of best fit. Otherwise, I'm not giving you any points on this homework. Okay? If you're just using Desmos, you're not doing everything that you can do by yourself. Okay? Now, there was a typo on this one. On the next page, describe the correlation and strength on the next page, goes with that last problem. Okay? So if you want to cross it out on the top of the next page and put it on the bottom of the first page, totally fine. If you want to leave it up there, again, totally fine. Okay? Then, straight up Desmos problem, just like we did, 5 through 8. Okay, your weight of an alligator after a certain amount of weeks. Then here is another one of those where it gives you the line of best fit, asks you to answer questions about it. Okay, and then lastly, down here at the bottom, this is the scatter plot over here. I was a little bit confused when I saw this one this morning. Okay, so this is the scatter plot over here. Here are 3 possible lines of best fit. You choose me which of the 3 is the best one. Okay? Love it. I'm going to hand some stuff back to you right now, and then we'll go from there.